There's a lot of things that we pick up. I think, especially in the creative world, there's a lot of habits we pick up, whether we're trying to get more inspiration or whether we just need to relax or whether we need to turn our brains off. I think a lot of us have such overactive imaginations and brain just thought processes. Sometimes, I think a lot of people would enjoy turning them off a little bit. And I think these also create other things. So we've got let's start with the kind of bad habits. But there's a lot of habits that there's a very grey area of what's bad, bad and good in a kind of holistic way. But if we start being more analytical, which is really what, everything, it's an underlying thing of this. It's all about awareness, analysing and actually making choices. Having choices to make should always be your focus. That's a really important thing to bring to your day. Having choices that you can make for how things you want to go in the day, how you want to change things, being aware of these points that you can pick up or not pick up, that is completely as you see fit at the time. But the awareness gives us that extra depth that we can work in to build it into things that we can control and things that we can, manifest when we want them and ways to improve our lives. So there's so many kind of habits that we get into. Drinking loads of coffee, alcohol, cigarettes, and lots of other things, in the creative sphere. But going into these, I think there's a really important point that I think there's so many people who lean on them. I've lent on them so many times. It's so easy and it's so easily done. And I think in a lot of ways, with creative work, it kind of just feels natural a lot of the time. And they have good things and they have bad things. But the thing we want to think about is what we want them to do for us. You can just bear with me for a sec. For example, I found for me, when I really thought about it for a long time and I, put the time into thinking about these things, I found coffee for me, although I love it, I found it really comforting. That was one thing. It's really comforting. It was to get more energy, wanted more energy, so that was something I thought would be instant for it. I actually found over time that coffee was a sign of depression for me. And that's not necessarily a big, from small to big, it doesn't matter, but it would build. Because firstly, some of these things build on themselves in a downward spiral. You drink one coffee, then you get used to two, then you get used to three, and you can build up far. This might not be the case for you. That's not what I'm immediately saying. That's what I'm saying. This is the case for me, to give you an example, to think about how these things fit in your life. So I know when I've started drinking a lot of coffee, even though I may not realise it, and I may feel okay, and I may feel like I'm kind of going through the day, I know that actually there is some form of depression there that's actually influencing some other things. And then by learning to identify these other things, you can start treating them in different ways. And suddenly it's amazing, the coffee goes. And you think, oh, well, was the coffee what I thought it was? Was it going to bring me energy? Was it making me happy? And you're like, no, actually, it wasn't. I still have a coffee here and there. That's not to say, I had to take them fully out of my life. But now I know that when those things happen, that's a trigger. And it's the same, you can think about alcohol. So if you go through alcohol, you probably go courage, maybe inspiration. There's several things. You might go sociability. There's a lot of things. But so what we want to do, and the kind of exercise I want to give you to do, and I really recommend just spending a bit of time on this. It's something that shouldn't take too long. We've all had enough experience of them. But it's something that starts to give you real places to work from, to build a kind of better kind of strength, and something that will really resonate with you on a deeper level. Is once you work through these and work out whichever your kind of habits are in these areas, structure them out, build out those different areas of what you want it to do for them, and then take those as individual study points. Take a 2-week period and study one of them. Put it in your diary, buy some books, have a read around the subject. Next 2 weeks, next 4 weeks, it depends how you want to do it. Read around the next subject, find a few new books that will inspire you. There'll always be something to inspire you with these things. I mean, they're all personal things. We're all very connected people. We love being connected in the creative world. whether we're introverted, extroverted, all of that's irrelevant, but the interaction is always there. So we know that human emotions, human spirit, human interactions are a fascination for, I'd say, the majority, if not everyone, in the creative spheres. So these subjects will hold some interest for you, whether you've looked at them before or whether you thought, could I even study that? Which is another thing. You can study anything. There's literally no subject on the earth you can't study, even if you think it's not a whole subject. There's people who've done it, and there's great literature on it. There's so many places you can go for it. But break these down, and once you slowly first educate yourself in some of these, there's a lot of history around, there's a lot of methodologies around in a million spheres. You can really pick them out and start to find things that will influence you, and you can build anything you like from them into these practices. And so if you wanted, as a next stage to that, you could start thinking about which parts of these could you introduce in little ways during your day, or maybe even once a day. Just regular, it could be 2 minutes, it doesn't necessarily, it could just be a check-in, it could be a 5 minutes, it could be a 10 minutes for you. It depends what exercise you're doing, it could be a bit of meditation, it could just be looking at your phone, reading that message out to yourself and just feeling it, just giving yourself 30 seconds to feel it, that's it. And just adding those in the day will start to build your strength in these, which is what some of the other habits were intended to do. And these little things, you can use to build yourself up slowly. It doesn't even have to be too involved a process at the beginning, but you'll start to feel it eventually. And those feelings are what's going to give you that kind of underlying deeper strength to have all these things, do all these things, and then see if anything changes. It doesn't matter if it's not about worrying about it. It's about starting to introduce concepts to your life that you want more of, studying more about them, how they work, what's already, all the amazing things that are already out there in these subjects, and then finding ways to introduce them. And it's such a powerful thing just to bring more happiness into your life, bring more inspiration to your life, and more creativity, which is why we're all here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you go and try it. I'm Paul Shelley. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye for now.